Tonight on Joy News Prime, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission issues preliminary report on investigations into erratic power outages being experienced across the country and says consumers who have had their appliances damaged as a result could be due for compensation. UNICEF assures 350,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines which arrived in Ghana on Friday have been certified as safe. Vice President urges prison officers to look beyond rehabilitation of inmates and work towards countering insurgency operations as part of their mandate.
The responsibility of the prison service transcends its core mandate of ensuring safe custody of inmates and their rehabilitation.
Lands Ministry lauds gains from government's ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies. In business, government advised to seek an economic assistance program from the International Monetary Fund to bring back life into the economy. We'll hear from a financial analyst.
Institution we know in the world that can bring this, give us cheaper source of funds to support this shortfall of liquidity or funds is only IMF.
And feuding factions in protracted chieftaincy disputes in Osu resolved their differences ahead of burial of deceased leader.
Before, there was no way you will see me today as you are seeing me with the other side. But we have sat down, we have thought through a lot of things, and we think that it's no longer important.
My name is ROLLOUT, and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our fan of our studios at Kukumlimli here in Accra, your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. An Accra High Court has acquitted and discharged Baku Central MP Mama Yariga of charges leveled against him by the Office of Special Prosecutor. The charges, including use of public office for private gain, was raised by former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu. Former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni has meanwhile been ordered by an Accra High Court to open his defense since the state has successfully led evidence requiring his response in an alleged 217 million CD financial loss case. Court correspondent Joseph Akable reports.
Clearly to me, you're not seeking justice. You're not seeking to do justice.
What is it? What would you call this then?
Well, maybe a father finding a way to teach his son how to live and the lessons of life. I don't know, but I don't believe that that's justice.
Is it a witch hunt?
I feel hunted. There's no doubt about that. Whether he's a witch is another matter, but I feel hunted.
Mr. Ayariga's role in the purchase of an ambulance for the Boku Municipal Assembly is the first and only case that was filed by then Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu shortly after taking office. Mr. Ayariga had insisted there was no case against him. He was accused of instigating and encouraging the purchase of an ambulance for the Boku Municipal Assembly without following the procedure provided for in the Public Procurement Act. He was also alleged to have used various public funds to pay for the ambulance, yet misrepresented that he used his personal resources. His lawyers, shortly after the state had finished calling witnesses to testify, urged the court to acquit and discharge him. They argued that no evidence had been led to show that he instigated a said breach of the procurement law. They urged the court to acquit and discharge him. This was upheld by Justice Sewa Efia Asaribotwe, discharging and acquitting the Boko Central legislator. Another case that was dealt with on Friday is the case of former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni. He has been standing trial since 2017 on allegations that he aided businessman Seydou Agongo to defraud the state of millions of cedis. The state closed its case, and Dr. Opuni stated that no evidence had been led in support of the allegations to merit his response. The court, presided over by Justice Clemens Onyenugan, disagreed and has ordered that he opens his defense. Justice Onyenugan said he is convinced that out of the 27 charges leveled against the accused persons, the state has successfully proved that they have a case to answer for 24 of them. The case has therefore been adjourned to May 17 for Dr. Kwabena Opuni to open his defense.
Our government has deployed over 300 guards to patrol rivers as part of its effort to reclaim water bodies polluted as a result of illegal mining. The Deputy Minister Designate for Land and Natural Resource, George Duka, says the guards will be trained by the Marine Police to detect and report activities of illegal miners. He said this when officials of the University of Mines and Technology demonstrated to the ministry a new method of cleaning the country's water bodies. There's more in this report.
The University of Mines and Technology spent 1 year to develop and test the technology. A test was first conducted in the Pra Basin to find out how it would assist in cleaning the country's water bodies. Vice-Chancellor of the school, Richard Kwesi-Amankwa, who led the demonstration, assured government of the usefulness of the technology and explained how it would work.
There are particles that can settle by themselves when they fall into water. And there are particles that need to be helped to settle. And the ones that we see in our waters are particles that need help to settle. So when we say they need help, some of these particles have got charges. So because of the charges, they remain in suspension. The chemicals we are going to use would neutralize the charges on the particles and force them to settle. So we have to estimate, for instance, the volume of water in the Pra River, and we know that it's around 5 million cubic meters. So knowing how much you need for 1 cubic meter, you can estimate how much you will need for 5 million cubic meters.
Is it for free?
Certainly cannot be for free.
He is also certain that the water would be safe for drinking after the purification exercise.
The suspended solids, once they start maybe falling into the bottom of the river, naturally they will occupy space. But in terms of maybe causing the river to die, as you put it, no, there's no way they can do that. Indeed, the current situation can cause the river to have challenges than when we start solving it. Because if you clear it, then sunlight can penetrate through the river, the fishes can have more life, the grass and everything inside the river can have more life. This current situation is worse than what we are going to do. Ours is much, much better. There will be no problem. Even if you take a sample of the water and you run a multi-element test on it, none of the elements you see in the water would have any adverse effect on human life or even fish life or even grass life.
Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, George Duka, who is excited about this technology, observed that 300 river guards are being deployed to patrol the river bodies. In his view, the deployment is to realize the objectives of the technology.
You know, Pra is now cleaned. There is no mining activity ongoing in the river Pra. And I can tell you, we're going to also institute the river guards who will also be continuously protecting our river bodies for sustainability. So it's not a matter of a 9-day wonder activity. We're going to have boats provided, drones will be patrolling, post officers at vantage points, and they can also report accordingly to the appropriate authorities. We're recruiting from along the villages of the river value chain.
So they'll be coming from the community?
From the communities. We're not sending anybody from, where we don't have river, but they need to protect from where they live so that they can practically be monitoring day in, day out. So we getting them, collaborating with the chiefs and opinion leaders to get them, and people who will also be ready to work and protect these river bodies.
So how many are we looking at?
Each community,
I should be specific.
We're looking at, piloting the PRA for now, okay, and take it from there. So we're looking at getting no less than 300 for a start.
Development, the Lands Ministry says it is excited at the immediate gains in government's ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies. According to the ministry, majority of miners in the Shanti and Western North regions have removed the equipment from the reserves in compliance with the directives that took effect less than a week ago. Oimingtuya joined a monitoring team to tour some forest reserves and filed this report.
Until the ban, the Oda Reserve, Subin Shelter Belt, Tanofin, among other forests in the Ashanti region, were home to illegal mining activities. Water bodies such as Subin, Ofin and Pra have had their share of the devastation. The Afao Hills and Anwiaso East reserves in the Western North region also had their share as earth-moving equipment struck deep in the belly of the earth. The Akasu and Subin streams are all destroyed by heavily armed and powerfully connected illegal miners who battle forestry officials. Several hectares of virgin forest with economic viable species are destroyed.
Most of the cocoa farms, they've destroyed them. Look, if you look over there, you see the cocoa farms.
Deputy Minister Designate for Lands, Benito Owusu-Bio, is shocked at the destruction in the forest reserves.
The devastation that has occurred here, with this particular forest reserve, there has been no application for any prospecting or reconnaissance whatsoever. So what you see here was a total blatant illegality. And look at the level of destruction. See the number of forest trees that they have destroyed. Very good economic tree. They've destroyed them all.
With the ban on mining in forest reserves, many of the havoc-wreaking equipment have been evacuated. Excavators have been evacuated from Oda, Subin Shelter, Bosomtwe, Anwiaso East, Tanofe and Afao Hills reserves in Ashanti and Western North regions. Though few recalcitrant miners remain on site, Benito Owusu-Bio is happy with the rate of compliance.
Since we came, even on the road, we all saw some are pulling their equipment out of the forest.
President of the National House of Chiefs, Oji Ahohoya Jebi II, shared similar sentiment.
I saw several excavators on the Nyinahini Bibiani stretch. The ban is already yielding positive results. You should intensify the fight because you have our support.
The Forestry Commission has had it tough, warding off illegal miners from forest reserves. Its Chief Executive John Alote says it is too early to celebrate.
It's too early to see that. We are seeing movement. You know, we've seen some movements outside the forest because this is not the first time directives have been given. This is not the first time maybe military have moved in. This is not the first time we've seen equipment being moved out. But the most important thing is to be able to maintain that side so that we are sure that no equipment move back to the forest.
He is concerned the evacuated excavators sit at the fringes of the forest reserves. As a first step, Mr. Alote wants district forest managers to be on high alert over attempts by recalcitrant miners to re-enter the forest.
Most of the equipment have been moved from the forest reserve, but they are just few meters away from the forest reserve. Chances are that they could move in the evening and work. They are too close for comfort. What we are going to do is to present a report to our minister in terms of enforcement.
Ghana's forest resources have been depleting at an alarming rate. Illegal mining is a major factor to the decline, which threatens the country's sustainable development. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyemi Interior reporting.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission says customers who have incurred any loss occasioned by the recent erratic power supply may be compensated. The Commission in a statement Friday indicated that it was trying to ascertain some of the damages as part of its regulatory processes and has directed affected persons to lodge complaints at the various ECG and NEDCO offices across the country. PRC's statement also noted 5 factors it says contributed to the erratic power supply. Now, we're joined by Ernest Menu, who has a copy of the statement and is going to be sharing that with us. So, Ernest, what are the factors accounting, the PRC is saying, are accounting for the erratic power outages?
So the PRC in the statement lists at least 5 following the investigation it claims it conducted into the erratic power supply we're experiencing. So the first reason it gave was technical challenges in the natural gas supply network. The second is the new transmission infrastructure being constructed on the National Interconnected Transmission System. And the third, it says planned and unplanned maintenance activities on aspects of the NITS. The fourth reason is the reduction in reactive power supply in the mid portion of the country. And then the final one being the fifth, emergency upgrade and modification works on the NITS to increase reactive power support and also improve voltages in the mid portion of the country. And remember that the Ashanti region has suffered a lot as far as these outages are concerned.
All right. Now, what are the options available to people who have had their equipment damaged?
Well, the PRC is promising, it says it is looking at compensation. So let me read verbatim from the statement. It says that following the conclusion of the preliminary investigations, the Commission, in accordance with its regulatory processes, is ascertaining the liabilities and possibility of compensation to consumers in recognition of any loss occasioned by the erratic power supply. The Commission further encourages consumers to report any case of damaged equipment to the nearest ECG or NETCO office, NETCO for those in the northern part of the country, for the appropriate action, failing which the report may be forwarded to the PRC for redress. And they provide a contact. So there's a toll-free number on the screens, as you can see, the head office, the website as well, and other offices of the PRC you can visit to lodge the complaints.
All right, thank you very much, Ernest Menu. Moving on, UNICEF says vaccines brought into Ghana from the Democratic Republic of Congo are safe. It says an independent committee has assessed and endorsed the vaccines as effective for immediate use. The Ghana Health Service is currently preparing a rollout plan to administer second doses to those who took their first jabs in March. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, was at the Kotoka International Airport when the consignment was delivered to the country.
Behind me, you can see the Turkish airline, which brought in the vaccines, 350,000 of them. The offloading just finished, and I take you here. The vaccines are being loaded onto these vans to be sent to the Ghana Health Service storage facilities at Kolebu, and then the redistribution will begin. It is 350,000 out of about 850,000 that inoculations that we've done for the first round of vaccinations. Ghana need to give everybody who did the first round of vaccinations a second jab. That has also delayed, and so there will be a difference of 500,000 doses to be given. We've not been told yet how the 500,000 will be procured, but as hope amid uncertainty as 350,000 vaccines are offloaded from the Turkish aircraft at the Kotoka International Airport. They are Ghana's share of some 1.3 million doses originally sent to the Democratic Republic of Congo, but had to be reallocated to Ghana and 5 other African countries under the COVAX platform. Those vaccines will have to be used before they expire on June 24. Chief Director at the Health Ministry, Kwabna Bwedu Okwafari, received the consignment on behalf of the Health Minister.
Those are 350,000 of AstraZeneca vaccines, which the origin is from the Democratic Republic of Congo, but as part of the COVAX vaccines that were distributed to African countries. We've taken delivery of those so we can start with the second dose of vaccination for those who started. And we are still hoping that very soon we'll be able to get more, especially for those who are going to do the second vaccination.
Nearly 850,000 persons have so far received their first jabs of AstraZeneca vaccines in Ghana and were scheduled to receive their second doses after 8 weeks. But challenges with the procurement systems have forced health officials to extend this by another 4 weeks. Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu is the first to admit the challenges.
We have faced challenges with vaccine availability and payment structures and things like that. It is a difficult challenge. The vaccines we were expecting to be delivered by COVAX in April and May have delayed because of challenges in India. India has stopped exports, and therefore we can't have access to AstraZeneca any longer.
As officials prepare to start the second round of inoculations, it is still unclear which of the 850,000 persons who took the first jabs will get to take the second. Kwabna Bwedu Okuaferi is hopeful the country can bring in more AstraZeneca doses to cover all those who've taken their first jabs.
We are still trying to procure more. The issue is that now, the supply condition in the world has changed. The vaccine market has become very tight. India, that is actually producing most of the AstraZeneca vaccines, are in a very dire situation, and therefore most of the exports from India have ceased. But we're still hoping that the COVAX platform will be able to give us some more. We are still engaging with them, and we believe that they will be able to give us what we require. Not only COVAX, but we are trying all over. We are in touch with the UK, we are in touch with the manufacturers themselves, and we hope that we'll be able to get the amount required to be able to do the second vaccine.
Ghana plans to vaccinate 20 million of its 31 million population by end of the year to achieve herd immunity. It's unclear if this plan is still on course following the difficulties suffered by the procurement systems. Fred Smith, Joy News.
Now, UNICEF, in a statement announcing the arrival of the vaccines today, indicated that Ghana was selected as one of the recipients of the doses due to its rapid, efficient, and coordinated response to this public health crisis, as well as its absorption capacity. The Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service have also significantly strengthened cold chain equipment and facilities over the past years with support from Gavi and UNICEF. This has enabled the successful and safe transfer of the vaccines between the two West African countries. Now, there has been a lot of concern about the validity or efficacy of the vaccines, but UNICEF in the statement explains that these vaccines are safe. I'll go back to the statement to share with you exactly what UNICEF says about that. It says, to assess the potency of the vaccine, UNICEF formed part of an independent committee which conducted a complete assessment of the vaccine and formally endorsed that they have been well maintained and are safe and effective for immediate use. Meanwhile, Courier Service Company, UPS, is taking up the transportation and ground logistics of distributing the vaccines to vaccination centers. It is part of the company's corporate social responsibility pledge made to Global Alliance for Vaccination to support with in-kind transportation for all vaccines in countries of its operation. Staying with health facilities in the country, especially in the Greater Accra region, have been struggling to save lives because there is often no blood when it is needed most. The phenomenon, according to the Ghana Health Service, leaves health workers broken when they see patients who could have survived die due to blood shortage. Data from the 2020 maternal death courses indicated about 44% of maternal deaths were due to obstetric hemorrhage. This means about 5 out of every 10 maternal deaths could be prevented if there is sufficient blood at any given time. My colleague Bernice Abubedu was at the Accra Regional Hospital Blood Bank and reports.
I always say that of all the things that women go through in motherhood, and the point of delivery, that is the most difficult and the most painful part of the entire motherhood process. And to add injury to insult, there are some women at the point of delivery, after they have delivered, then they begin to bleed and bleed and bleed. The medical system has medications and procedures that we do to stop the bleeding. However, there are some of the women who do not respond properly to these medical procedures. So they bleed and bleed. Sometimes we have to then go to theater and remove their womb assuming she came for the first child, and then you have to remove the womb. And then imagine what this woman will go through. And sometimes you do all these things, and the woman may still lose her life because you did not have adequate pint of blood in your blood bank. I have been to conferences where people come to present their experiences, and they say that this woman's life was saved with 40 pints of blood. But oftentimes, we don't have that amount of blood to give to one person. We may have about 40 pints of blood, but maybe for the whole hospital, all the patients who are coming to this hospital have to share in that. But in some other areas, there are adequate amounts that any pint of blood that you need to save a person is available. And so in those countries, death because of hemorrhage for a woman is very minimal. You know? So that is the kind of situation that we are also in. Now, if it should be the issue of blood, we should have enough of it so that we can save the lives of mothers in this country. It's unfortunate that people fear blood donation, you know, but the fact of the matter is that it's a very simple procedure. The fact of the matter is that at any point in time, the average healthy person has enough blood to be able to give out a pint at a time. And an individual can donate about 2 to 3 times, sometimes 4 times in a year. The procedure is a very simple procedure. A blood vessel is identified, a major blood vessel is identified, a needle is stuck into it, and then the blood just flows. And once the blood is flowing, you will not even know anything is happening. Some people also fear that if the blood is taken, I might be diagnosed as HIV. And I want to assure the public, per national protocol, we don't do HIV tests before the blood is taken. All that we do is that the blood samples are taken, we put codes on them, and then later on, some of these tests are done. Unless, of course, the person himself requests from the staff that he wants to know his HIV status. If you do not want to know, nobody is going to do any HIV test and then inform you that this and that is the issue.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. Still ahead in the bulletin, Vice President urges prison officers to look beyond rehabilitation of inmates and work towards countering insurgency operations as part of their mandate.
Responsibility of the prison service transcends its core mandate of ensuring safe custody of inmates and their rehabilitation.
In business, government advised to seek an economic assistance program from the International Monetary Fund to bring back life into the economy. We'll hear from a financial analyst.
The only institution we know in the world that can bring this, give us cheaper source of funds to support this shortfall of liquidity or funds is only IMF.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a bit.
Hello there, you're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The government has been advised to seek economic assistance program from the International Monetary Fund to bring back life into the Ghanaian economy. Former Finance Minister Setekpa recently urged government to consider a homegrown or external program to revitalize the economy, which has been saddled by high debt and financing gaps. The rippling effects are high fuel prices and an increased cost of living. Dr. Williams Pepra is head of finance at Valley View University, and he spoke earlier on Business Live.
The first quarter of this year, government realized that it couldn't raise the 6.3 billion that he wanted to raise with the treasury bill. Now, looking at government budgets, government said the revenue generation for 2021 will be 72 billion. When it comes to government expenditure, item 1, which is salaries and wages, was projected at 25.5 billion. This amount is equivalent to what government projected to borrow locally or within the country, which is 25.5 billion. So simply put, government is matching the treasury bill borrowing to pay for item 1 expenditure in the country. Once there is a shortfall in the borrowing for the first quarter, it gives a signal that government will struggle to find money to take care of that line of expenditure. If you look at the budget, government said that 35 billion will be used in paying interest already we are aware that our interest payment is very high. It means that government has no option to go and borrow at a higher cost.
Now, economist and businessman Dr. Kofi Amoah is pushing for support and protection for Ghanaian businesses to stimulate job-oriented economic growth. According to him, no country has been transformed into a developed economy by fully opening up all its sectors to foreigners. Dr. Amoah was speaking on PM Express, the business edition.
Singing this song of the private sector is the engine of growth. The private sector is the engine of growth. We've been singing this song for a very long time. I think the song is tired. And I think we have to start looking at what other classmates of Ghana did to get from the beginning stages, post-colonialism, to where they are today. How did they migrate from nowhere to somewhere, where some of these countries that started with us are one of the highest per capita income earners in the world. So the private sector is important because efficiency is there and all of that. But in a society where the private sector itself is troubled, it doesn't have credit. Getting credit is difficult, you understand? So expansion is difficult. Then on top of that, you are dealing with a mass unemployment. So forget about the businesses, just look at the nation. How is the nation going to go forward when you have a lot of young people unemployed? The private sector in Ghana is not going to be able to absorb all these people. So I think we need to put a halt on that song and begin to sing a different song. And the different song that I'm going to propose is the same song that Malaysia sang.
However, Farm Milk Ghana has launched an addition to its various brands of products onto the market, NutriDay. The firm believes that despite the tension and pressure caused by the COVID pandemic, the provision of NutriDay is an opportunity for all Ghanaians to build their immune system. Here's more.
Fan Milk PLC, the leading producer of nutritious and refreshing milk-based and dairy-based food products, has today launched NutriDay Zinc Fortified Yogurt for whole family consumption. NutriDay becomes Ghana's innovative fortified yogurt and has been developed by Fan Milk to meet the growing demand for healthy nutrition that supports the immune system. According to the managing director, Yos Yobetin, the birth of NutriDay was to help fight COVID and keep all Ghanaians healthy with all the ingredients in the product.
NutriDay is actually a bold statement into the future. As you know, Fan Milk has been pioneering innovation in this country and driving its mission. So NutriDay is our response to the tension and the pressure that the world and the nation of Ghana has been going through over the past 12 months. We know it's not over, and it is our contribution to keep the nation healthy. We know zinc is actually good for the immune system. When you have COVID and you go to hospital, one of the things that you're given is zinc tablet. So we thought we will make it easier for Ghanaians to prevent and make the immune system stronger by providing, as we say, a delicious yogurt that is actually fortified with zinc. So it's our contribution to the fight against the pandemic. It's our contribution to build a healthy nutrition. What really makes this product unique is the fortification in zinc. It's been said over and over again, you can't have enough zinc to remain healthy. But it is not just zinc. You know it has also vitamin B6, B5, calcium, and to keep it in one simple word, actually NutriDay makes you strong every day. And that's our contribution to fight the pandemic.
Meanwhile, dietitian Wise Lecha from Trust Hospital in Osu says the product will be a nutritional agent that will transport zinc to help build the immune system.
It's going to be a good vehicle for good nutrition. For us as nutrition practitioners, we are always looking for how we can get our patrons or clients or patients get the nutrients that they need. And micronutrient deficiency is of some importance in our country. So we always look out for products that can carry some of the nutrients like zinc, like vitamins, other vitamins and all that can help people who consume them. So NutriDay is just one of those products. It's going to be a vehicle So we will call it a nutritional agent that will transport the element zinc, which helps to build immunity.
And that's how we end business. Sport is up next with Gary L. Smith this day.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith, and this is The Sport. The Juvenile League resumes this week, and it's the first time in 3 years. President of the Ghana FA, Kedu Krakow, reckons its return will have an impact on the performances of the various national teams in the very near future.
Juvenile football has been on a hiatus since 2018 due to number 12 and the COVID-19 pandemic that broke last year. The competition makes a return this weekend, and President of the Ghana Football Association, Ket Okreku, is convinced when the right structures are put in place at the grassroots level, it will have a rippling effect on the performance of national teams.
It is only from the juvenile leagues that super talents can go through the ladder or can go up the ladder for national selectors to take notice. And if it is that the juvenile leagues are strong, our national teams invariably will be strong, especially the juvenile level. And if you cast your mind back in the years that Ghana has done very well at the juvenile level, our Black Stars have been very strong. Okay, so I'm extremely expectant, I'm extremely happy, and I think that we are in the right way. We are pressing the right buttons at the right time, in spite of the fact that we are in an extremely difficult period of COVID-19. I mean, somebody will say it's no joke at all to operate within this period, but we are pushing, and we're bringing along the industry step by step.
The GFA had planned to organize the Juvenile League last year, but during the registration process, an accident in Ofinso led to the demise of some young players, forcing the football governing body to postpone the competition indefinitely. Mr. Okreku says his outfit is doing everything they can to ensure the football season is a success.
We're pressing every button, i.e. by way of regulations, i.e. by way of logistics, i.e. by way of infrastructure. So you heard me say that games are going to take place at what we call the game centers. Games are going to take place behind closed doors in the 5 regions that I've mentioned. Games are going to take place in very secured facilities across the country, as much as we can, as much as humanly possible. We want to ensure that the footages, the pictures from our games are clean and of quality, and that's the only way we can attract individuals and corporate Ghana to pay attention to what we are doing. So we are working, and somebody will say Rome was not built in a day, and as we go along this journey, I am sure that we'll have new ideas and new investment opportunities.
The Juvenile League will be played on regional basis to have the champions of the various regions to participate in a competition called the Juvenile Champions League.
Now to the Ghana Premier League, and struggling Legon cities will be embarking on an image-redeeming exercise when they clash with Dwarves in Cape Coast. The Royals are 16th on the table, and their top defender Nicholas Mensah believes the team will secure a win on Sunday.
It has been a disappointing second round for the Royals, and I think we've played 4 matches so far, and we've gotten we've not gotten a win so far. So it has been a disappointing one.
What do you think is missing in the team as of now?
I think seriously, we've been working hard. We've been working hard at the training grounds, but I think we will start getting some good results. Yeah.
When should we expect? Are we confident of a win against Dwarves on Sunday?
I wouldn't say we are going there to lose this game. I would say we are going to win this game. So confidently, I would say yes.
So Ghana Premier League fixtures now. Remember, earlier today, Olympics beat Wafa by 3-2. That is what you saw. Ending the unbeaten streak of Wafa, 6 games unbeaten, comes to an end. Asante Kotoko play Dreams FC in the game to watch tomorrow. And on Sunday, Ashko play 11 Wonders, Dwarves, Legon Cities, Hearts versus King Faisal, Liberty versus Mediama, Adriana versus Brekum Chelsea, and Karela United versus Bechem United. And in the Women's Premier League, Northern Ladies have beaten Fabulous Ladies 6-0 today. Kumasi Sports Academy play Supreme Ladies. Ashtown Ladies play Pelpia and Pemdakon. Play Prisons Southern Zone. So those are for the Northern Zone. Thunder Queens play Berry. Sea Lions play Hazakes. Police play Immigration. And Soccer Intellectuals play the Lady Strikers. That's it for the sport for now. Thank you for your time. Gary L. Smith here.
All right, showbiz time now, and Beckis is here.
Hello to you. It's Friday. Let's start with Jesus.
I like your outfit.
Thank you.
Very
Let's start with the Lord. I can't see myself. Where's me? Oh, that's me. That's me. That's me. So yesterday we spoke about Eno, and in that interview, she mentioned that she wants Diana Entry Hamilton, to win the Artiste of the Year this year at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. So let's listen to Eno.
Oh yeah, I love a lot of them, but I think I love Diana Hamilton. Okay. I grew up singing her songs. Okay. I still do. Yeah, in church and everything.
Okay, well, she's also been nominated. She's this time in the Artiste of the Year category. Do you think that for the first time in history, we know that a gospel musician has taken the Artiste of the Year before, but do you think that Diana could, pass for Artiste of the Year this year at the VGMAs?
Yeah, she could. Yeah, I want her to win.
Okay, which one is your favorite of all her songs?
Rebecca Sa.
Oh, yeah. Can we sing it together? Okay. Some of us don't have it. But also, I also have a favorite.
Minyame bekasa and some baby bye and I'm in I serve bekasa a mama come out to me.
It's okay. Which one is your favorite?
Mine is Adom.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have several, but Adom.
So just because I need to back you.
No, we don't have time. Let's get on.
God, easy. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about trademarks.
I heard somebody say that they forget their dancing skills on Friday. Yeah. So if it was a Thursday,
okay. So we'll bring that back on a Monday or a Thursday. But Trickmatic, he says that. So there's a rumor out there that he left his wife. For somebody in South Africa, because rapper Trickmatic, and he said he is out there trying to put Ghana on the map, and this is the only thing you guys can come about.
It's sad because I went there for a very positive move, which I was expecting people to highlight. Amazing Voices is a huge platform. I mean, myself as a judge from Ghana, I'm backed with Amara Brown, which is who is one of the biggest, not one, actually the biggest songstress from Zimbabwe. There's Fela Tuju, who owns the Red Fourth Choir. There's also Vusi Nova this year, which is one of the biggest vocalists from South Africa. And I was expecting that, Ghana as a country. And then there's Yvel, who won one of the competitions in Nigeria, I think Nigerian Idols. Okay. And I was expecting that we will talk about it because I read the blogs from these other judges and their countries. And, the way they're talking about them, like this guy's on, like Vusi is on. Yeah. Recently, I think the page, which is a Bright Fire page, posted Vusi as the man of the week or something like that. And, just the vibe, the way people would go like, talking about essay and how essay, musicians are this and all of that. I mean, and then I see someone sent me this, and it actually came from family. Charlie, we've heard that, this, that. I'm like, oh boy, not again. But I laugh over these things because I know our people,
Okay, so, I mean, there's some, you can say that, yes, the fact that, is he dating some South African girl?
No, he's actually working in South Africa on Amazing Voices. He's a judge. He's a judge on the show. Okay. So he's been there for like 3-4 months. Yes, I think that's the reason why people are speculating that he left. So I think, I'm not too sure, I can't. Because he's saying that, it's false. So
all right, that's fine. All right, thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz.
Anytime, easy.
All right.
Have a nice Friday.
Thank you. You too. Let's check out the top stories on My Joy Online, where you can go for more of our stories. Fix the Country protesters counter injunction with name and shame campaign on social media. keep an eye on house helps to keep sexual abuse victim of child defilement, advises parents. Ghana takes delivery of 350,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine. There's more news on the Joy News channel. Do stay tuned in. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has charged graduates of Officer Cadet Intake 828 of the Ghana Prison Training School to stretch their limits by looking beyond just rehabilitation of prison inmates and work towards countering insurgency operations, a phenomenon, he says, is threatening the peace within the West African sub-region. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has also assured prison officers the administration is committed to building a correctional system that will, in the long term, see prison officers discharge their duties in a manner that meets international standards. He was speaking at the graduation and commissioning ceremony of Intake 28 at the training school here in Accra, from where Latif Idris reports.
The idea of gathering intelligence and working towards foiling insurgent operations, according to the Vice President, falls within the domestic and international obligations of personnel of the Ghana Prison Service. Part of the incentives the administration has undertaken to achieve the world-class target, according to the Vice President, is the resourcing of the security agencies, including the prison service, upgrading of infirmaries, and ongoing construction of residential facilities for prison officers, which, he says, was derailed by the coronavirus pandemic. In his address, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia charged the graduates to work towards countering insurgent operations in Ghana and possibly within the West African sub-region.
As new senior officers, you must find meaning to your work and exhibit the competence required for good stewardship. Your call has come at a time when much is expected of the prison service in both its domestic and international obligations. Today, the responsibility of the prison service transcends its core mandate of ensuring safe custody of inmates and their rehabilitation to participation in counter-insurgency operations, amongst other national demands.
Dr. Bawumia also announced to the graduating officers that no COVID-19 infections have been recorded in any of the country's correctional facilities.
Till today, none of the inmates that were in custody before the onset of the pandemic have contracted COVID-19. It is quite remarkable. I express my appreciation to all the agencies of the nation's criminal justice system for their collaborative effort in ensuring that our prisons are fully protected from the menace of the disease.
At a colorful parade with the Vice President as the reviewing officer, the officer cadet executed a slow and quick procession to the admiration of a sizable crowd of mostly family members in strict observance of the coronavirus protocols.
We should be very slow to prevent people from demonstrating. That's the admonition from private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, who has criticized the impediments placed in the way of conveners of the FixThe Country movement, who had planned to embark on the demonstration this Sunday. According to him, the ex-parte injunction granted by High Court Judge Justice Ruby Ayite as strange, and is urging government to allow the protest to go ahead in the same manner other protests were allowed under other administrations.
There was no need for this ex-parte. The police went to court alone without serving copies on the FixThe Country demo organizers. That's a lot of bad faith. Bad faith. It doesn't bode well for our democracy. And to make matters worse, you see, earlier, there had been a decision in 2015. This Let My Vote Count people had gone to court against a similar practice by the police. And Justice Dennis J., Justice of the Court of Appeal, but he was sitting in the High Court, gave a judgment in which he said that no, it's wrong for the police to go ex parte. Why the rush? You serve them. You know, under the law, the Chief Justice has the power to empanel the court to sit at any time, even midnight, any time. I know recently the Chief Justice did a very marvelous job. He empaneled the court to sit on Saturday, 23rd of April, and the alleged coup plotters case. Yeah, he empaneled the court. So once the Chief Justice has the power to do empanel the court at any time, you don't rush. Yes, we know today is Friday. Saturday, Sunday, the court can sit at any time. So what the police have done is a lot of bad faith. It doesn't bode well for our democracy. You know, this reminds me of the time of President Mills. You remember this Alliance for Accountable Governance, AFAG. You know, at that time, current Attorney General was one of the organizers. The police sought to do such a thing and didn't want them to demonstrate. So President Mills stepped in and said, no, he doesn't want any strictures. The police should allow the demonstrators to go on their demonstration. I remember Attorney General Dami even coming to say, why should President Mills step in? But the president did. He said, look, he's not interested in any strictures. Police should provide security for the demonstrators to demonstrate. You say, yeah, so what the police have done, they've gone back like 10 steps.
The police, who had earlier invited the campaigners for a meeting on Thursday, secured a higher court injunction against the planned march. The move has been described by some lawyers as strange. We bring you a wrap of how the social media movement evolved over the week.
Hashtag was Fix the Country, and then other people started pulling out pictures from their communities, and they also started posting it along. And in the end, we had over 450,000 tweets. We were trending worldwide, #1.
Joshua Boydo, one of many social media users who set the hashtag in motion.
And so the job is done. I don't feel like a hero because the hashtag can die in the moment, and then we'll be back to zero. So I want to see results.
It became a full-blown agitation for better standards of living, hike in fuel prices, unstable power and water supply, among a litany of other social challenges were labelled as problems government was required to fix. Fix yourself became an almost immediate counter hashtag. A tweet by Nsawam Edwejiri MP Frank Anodompre incurred the wrath of the protesting social media users. He tweeted, quote, "Take notice of these two," unquote, alongside a photograph that had the following statements. "Fix the country, Jimie. You don't pay your taxes, you politicize every good policy." He has since apologized, adding that he understands the concerns of the campaigners.
I think it's a question of time. I'm very confident that all of us, and here I'm not putting responsibility on any minister, I think that all of us in position of influence, all of us have a role to play to ensure that as a country we come atop this concern and deal with it.
That did not end the counter hashtags. Nana is fixing it, and Let's Fix Ghana Together popped up as the governing MPP's officials joined the discussion to defend the government's record and commitment to dealing with the matter.
The Akufo-Addo government has on no occasion turned its back towards fixing the problems of our nation.
The social media protest took a different twist as the Ghana Police Service was notified of a street march slated for May 9th. The police service, however, said it is unable to provide protection, adding COVID-19 restrictions remained in force.
They were informed of our inability to give them the necessary protection until such a time that the restrictions are lifted.
The protesters fired back, saying they will not back down.
We know of no law that prohibits us from doing so.
A high-powered government delegation comprising national security, defense, and interior and justice ministers met the protesters yesterday. But while the meeting was ongoing,
tonight, police secure restraining order stopping Fix the Country protesters from embarking on a planned protest this Sunday.
The police secured an injunction to stop the May 9th march. However, the protesters say they will push to have this court order set aside.
This court order will not prevent us from exercising our right
and therefore we would seek to set aside this court order by appealing to the same judicial process that the police has used.
Well, in related development, the conveners of the Fix the Country movement have indicated a failed attempt to get the Supreme Court to set aside the injunction on the May 9th demonstration. They've issued a statement to that effect, and it reads, as you may have heard yesterday, the 6th of May 2021, the Ghana Police Service obtained an order prohibiting us from exercising our rights under the 1992 Constitution to embark on the planned May 9th protest. The order was granted to the police despite an existing decision by a judge of the Court of Appeal saying that the police cannot seek nor obtain an order to prohibit a protest without notifying the organizers. Earlier today, our lawyers working through the night filed an application to the Supreme Court seeking to set aside the defective order made by the High Court judge. It was our hope that in view of the urgency of the matter and having regard to the grave injustice caused, that extraordinary measures will be taken to expedite the hearing of the matter so as to enable us proceed with the protest on Sunday, May 9th. However, we have just received news that the Supreme Court has fixed the hearing for 8th June 2021. We are naturally disappointed by this decision, but we continue to place our faith in the courts. As a result, we shall, at the earliest opportunity, file an application for abridgment time with the hope that the court will hear the matter at an earlier date. We shall update you in a few hours on our next course of action regarding the protest. We assure you all that we will not relent, retreat, nor surrender. Keep up the faith in the fight. Fix the country, the conveners. In other news, the birth of a child is supposed to bring joy to the mother and the family, but that is not always the case. This is because in some instances, women suffer a form of mental disorder after delivery, and this makes the process of childbirth a painful one. As the world marks Maternal Mental Health Week, Joy News' Beryl and Sheena Richard tells the story of 37-year-old Ikuya Edu, who suffered depression just after childbirth.
After a few weeks, I couldn't sleep. I was just talking. Because when I asked him how we are going to name the baby, what am I going to wear? Even he told me what I'm wearing at that moment, I can use it for the naming ceremony. So that got me thinking. I started talking and saying all the things that had happened in the marriage, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything.
That was how Ikuya's battle with depression started after her first delivery. Just like any new mother, Ikuya was expected to bond with her baby, but that did not happen.
Where we were locked, I could even go to toilet over there without realizing that that's not the right place to even go. I was seeing people as my relatives, like the teachers who taught me at training college. I'll be mentioning some of the nurses' names by those teachers. I was there for about 3 weeks before I was discharged. They explained that it was because of the childbirth that the depression came. At that time, I didn't know I had a baby or something like that. But when my mother comes, she used to come with the baby.
Ikuya was subsequently admitted at a psychiatric hospital and was diagnosed with postpartum depression. Ikuya's mother had to step in to care for both baby and mother.
I was so worried seeing my daughter in that state. In the night, she would talk to herself, sometimes about the bad things her husband did to her during the pregnancy. We were advised by a friend to take her to the psychiatric hospital. For 3 weeks while she was on admission, I was the one taking care of the baby.
But in Africa, there is scarcity of data on women living with the condition. While postpartum depression is a major health issue for many women from diverse cultures, this condition often remains undiagnosed. According to health experts, there is no established cause of postpartum depression. Dr. Erica Dixon is clinical psychologist at the 37 Military Hospital.
It is a serious problem because it affects not just the individual who is feeling unwell, but a newborn baby. So when this woman is feeling unhappy, has very low mood, has lost interest, does not want to see their baby. Most women, especially first-time mothers, are excited that they are going to have a baby, the shopping for the baby and all of that. But this woman is unwell and has no interest whatsoever. And sometimes they get very anxious and jittery around their babies. They are afraid they will hurt the babies. So they don't want to touch them at all. So for most mental health disorders, there's not one single cause. And for mental health disorders in general, there are lots like that. And so it is for postpartum or peripartum depression. The hormonal changes that goes on in the individual, especially if this person has a family history, a predisposition.
In Ghana, as it is with other forms of mental health conditions, some families resort to prayer camps for healing for their loved ones.
We took her to a prayer camp. I used to cry those days because of the state my daughter was in. She was so aggressive and restless during that period, so she had to be changed.
For Ikuya, her time at the prayer camp was the most traumatizing moment of her life.
I thought I didn't belong there, so I had to go. Anytime I get a chance, I'll just walk and then start going. And they will start looking for me and then bringing me back. So it got to a point they had to put handcuffs on my legs. Painful time. It's like you are lost.
According to Dr. Dixon, this condition could reoccur with subsequent pregnancies. Therefore, therapy and support from the family is very crucial in the recovery of women living with the condition.
It is a risk factor. Because you have had it once, we know that you have the predisposition, and therefore a little more attention would have to be given you to ensure that the milieu within which you are progressing in your pregnancy is more supportive, is less stressful, so that you are not pushed over the edge.
She also believes more awareness would help women suffering from the condition seek early attention.
There's still a whole lot that can be done. Our midwives hold pregnancy schools in the various departments, and this could be one of the topics that is infused in there. In our own facility, we started something like that, and we hope to up our game in educating on these things. So it is just that the women haven't been given the opportunity, but a lot of them have experienced it, and therefore I am sure that when the education goes out, they'll be able to identify with it.
But until that is done, women suffering from postpartum depression will continue wallowing in abject pain and misery. Beryl and Estina Richter's report for Joy News.
Lawmakers must see horrific visuals of accident victims to jolt them into taking action. The Orthopedic Association of Ghana is charging. At its meeting annual General and Scientific Congress, it emerged that many accident victims die before medical help comes to them. With a 30 million population, Ghana has only 52 orthopedic surgeons. So what will government do about this? Kwekwe Sante has the rest of the story.
The conversation about the carnage on Ghana's roads dominated the maiden annual General and Scientific Congress of the Orthopedic Association of Ghana. From January to April this year, 1,034 people have been killed on Ghana's roads. As an association that sees more extremely injured persons in the hospitals, they are sounding the alarm bells on the need to find means to deal with the menace. Dr. Holdbrook Smith specializes as an orthopedic surgeon. He wants horrific images of accidents to be shown to lawmakers to jolt them into action, just as Joy News did recently after Seth Kwame Boateng's crashed documentary.
So, please, also as orthopedic surgeons, let's go to these people who make the laws
And look, show them the pictures of those horrific injuries that people have. You see, people say that it wouldn't be ethical, but we've made comments, we've said all these things. Perhaps one of these days we should bring them and show them the pictures of those crushed limbs, crushed hands, horrible injuries I'm sure you all have catalogs of.
As the healthcare system struggles to cope with rising accident figures, data suggests that more accident victims are dying before they get medical help. Professor Robert Kwanzaa is with the KNUST Department of Surgery.
In our study, we noticed that 81% of the severely injured died before help could come to them. They died before they get to the hospital.
And perhaps quite surprising, there are more accidents happening on properly constructed roads than poor roads.
And we noticed that we had more accidents on paved roads. So one day when one of the investigators came to us and he said, "Hey, Dr. Kwanzaa, from your dart holes, you had less injuries. Now that you have tarred roads, you have more injuries. I wonder, I hope to be proved wrong, that if the situation is not going to change, and we're going to have the same attitude on the road, even when we dualize our roads, we'll still have increased numbers of victims."
The association believes whilst road accidents seem distant from the economy, a general improvement of the economy in the country will improve the situation in terms of care.
Dr. Nsansari, please tell our president that improved trauma care can only happen if there is an overall improvement in the economy. This I have proven by comparing Seattle, Monterey, and Ghana in our data.
But with over 30 million population, Ghana has only 52 orthopedic surgeons, a situation Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Nsansari, has described as a disaster, urging the College of Physicians and Surgeons to deploy innovative means to train more orthopedic surgeons.
Traffic accidents is a very huge burden on Ghanaian economy. And as I said, we need the people, we need a specialist. It's a specialized area. But as we speak now, we have only 52 practicing trauma orthopedic surgeons. And it's very worrying for 31 million population. So if you look at it, it's a disaster. And that's why I charge the College of Physicians and Surgeons to come out of innovative ways to revamp the training.
The association would have wished that their maiden general meeting would have been dominated by welfare of their members, especially with the imminent threat of a mass exodus of some of their trained members outside the country. But as they prepare to elect leaders to steer their affairs, they, like many Ghanaians, are concerned about the spate of road accidents and want immediate action.
After decades of a protracted dispute between feuding factions in Osu, chiefs in the area have decided to smoke the peace pipe. It is believed the death of the Osu Manche Niokwe King Kadona VI in February may have played a role in uniting the people. The feuding factions finally decided to give peace a chance in their planning of a befitting burial for the late Osu Manche. Ni Note Aduma Osiahene IV, who led the peace talk, says the new era will help foster development in Osu and its environs.
This is history. It has taken us a very longer time to arrive here. It has been a very long time this tussle has been on. Dispute, confusions all over the place. We have had two or many factions for quite a time. I belong to one of the factions, and therefore, before, there was no way you will see me today as you are seeing me with the other side. But we have sat down, we have thought through a lot of things, and we think that it's no longer important. At least as leaders that are installed, we are to serve our people. We are also to bring development, and that is not of a fight. We are not to bring dispute and confusion, because confusion and dispute benefit us nothing. But we believe that unity is what is actually going to move Osu forward. for the benefit of the people. Before, today, when you come here and you mention Osiayini, one will tell you, yes, he is Osiayini. The other side will tell you he is not. Today, I think I am privileged. I am so fortunate among the very few traditional office holders or rulers that has been accepted by all in his community. So today, I know when you walk around and you mention Osiayini, then Osiayini will be one. My purpose is just to make sure that I bring my ideas and support to the table to make sure that we move Osu forward.
Ni Note Eduma Osiayini IV, speaking after his installation as the caretaker manager of Osu, says he intends to use his brief tenure to focus on improving access to education.
Osu is lacking a lot. One may think when they see Oxford and see some of the buildings arising, then springing up around the areas, then Osu is developing. But the people are not developing. There has been a lot of it. In fact, education, a whole lot. So it's like we are stuck at one place, and the whole rest has been fight. Today, I'm going to make sure that I also join hands with the JASI and the Traditional Council and all other elders to make sure that at least we get education, health facility for our people, because Osu can do it. We can do it on our own. We have enough to take care of our old or the aged. So these are some of the things that I'm going to look at. But I think education is the most important agenda that we're going to make sure we work with.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break to bring you business, but still ahead in the bulletin, there's debris from a Chinese rocket that is expected to fall back on Earth in an uncontrolled re-entry this weekend. It is not clear exactly where the debris is going to fall. We're going to be bringing you that report. Do stay tuned in, but we have business news next.
And welcome back to business. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is in the process of digitizing the ticketing of the bus rapid transport to block revenue leakages in the system. The Scania's smart buses are already fully automated to ease the digital ticket processes. The KMA says it has taken lessons from the Ayalolo bus operations in Accra to enhance service delivery in Kumasi.
The BRT business started operations in Kumasi in 2018 with 3 buses, but currently has a fleet of 56 buses. Officials say the rate of revenue generation is commendable, but more could be done. KMA's transportation manager Randy Williams says the aim of digital ticketing is to ensure efficient operations and revenue generation.
You know how these unautomated systems, the sort of things that happen along the line, somebody might try to duplicate the ticket issuer might try to do 1 or 2 things around it. So in order to take all these things out, the idea is for us to use a card. And then when you just tap it into the bus, the fare is taken out of it, like it's done outside the country. So instead of relying only on, let's say, this card, Adeshare card, we are looking at making it possible for the system to link to any card that can be used in making payments, so that it becomes open for almost everybody to make use of it. Before the end of the year, we are hoping that we would have finished testing and then we'll roll it out to all the other buses.
To avoid road crashes, the drivers receive continuous training and skills upgrade to be able to drive the smart buses. Kumasi Mayor Osei Esibenchi speaks about the progress.
After employing them, they undertook a training before we allowed them even to use the buses. But after using the buses, we saw that there was the need to perfect their skills. That is why we spent money in sending them back to school, and now all of them are having certificates being awarded by a qualified institute, and they are all holding diploma certificate. And this is the first time of its kind that we are training a lot of females into the use of the buses. With the inception of this transport, the buses, none of the female drivers has had an accident, which is a real plus. None of them. So if I'm to recommend, we recommend that we take more of the women into the driving of the buses.
Sarah Okwe now holds a diploma in driving. She says her passion for driving earned her the certificate. Sarah encouraged other women to take interest in the public transport business.
The bus is long, so if you are driving and you are not mindful or watchful with your mirrors, you always have problem. That was my challenge. But anytime I go out and someone comments on my driving, I feel fulfilled that I have chosen the right source of work. I'll keep on doing what I'm doing, and I pray other ladies will also come on board because it's a nice profession.
Elku Malik's report from Kumasi.
Now, the Asante Hinose Otunfo II has charged the mayor of Kumasi and the Ministry of Railway Development to go ahead with its intended demolition of structures on the right-of-way in Kumasi for the construction of the 6-kilometer Idum to Kasi section of the Western Railway line. The railway link the Ashanti region to the Western region. Of course, we have more in this report. Counting on the once vibrant railway system, His Royal Majesty said the railway system under the then Gold Coast was used for the transportation of gold, bauxite, manganese, among others, which created job opportunities, improved the living conditions of the people, and also enhanced economic growth. However, the several years of neglect has killed the rail transport system in Ghana. Otunfo II cautioned that no compensation will be paid to anyone whose property will be affected by the demolition exercise.
Sure.
The Railway Minister John Peter Mewu on his part expressed concern over the numerous encroachments on the rights of the way. He also used the opportunity to brief the Asantehene on the progress of work so far on the line to boost haulage transportation.
One of the major problems we're facing now is the line within the Kumasi metropolis. His Majesty, there will be a need to pave way for the right of way for some work to be done. And a lot of studies has already been conducted, and it's important that we inform you before we go ahead. What needed to be done is over this period that the railway sector has been led to this state, the culture that we have, many people have gone on to those routes. And it's going to make it very difficult for the contractor to commence work if some level of demolitions are not done.
The sector minister reiterated that President Akufo-Addo is committed to building a modern railway network, and this he is committed to do. He expressed his kind gratitude to His Majesty for his support towards the rail project. Now, Gari processing is a major business in the central Tongu district, specifically Mafi Kumasi. The process, even though very tiring and difficult, the residents find joy in doing it. Residents want government help to improve the trade. Iris Setoji explores the process of making Gari and the challenges faced in the sector in this report.
Residents in Mafi Kumasi in the Central Tongue district of the Volta region are farmers who mostly cultivate cassava and other crops with these process for Gari processing. According to the traders, the difficulties associated with the processing of Gari, especially from the raw product to the main production, is worrying. According to them, marketing of the Gari is another problem, as they sometimes have to wait in vain for good bargain and sometimes are unable to sell their products.
This is back to Superfair. And here
They do mostly farming. It's a farming community. As you can see, I'm trying to help the woman with the frying of gari. This is what we call gari processing. And according to her, they sell a bag, number 5, for 500 Ghana cedis. This is what they do. They want market in this area so that they can sell large quantities of gari to people. Right now, they don't have enough market, so they do all these things, and they are still unable to cater for their families. Okay. Okay, so she's saying that they want government to help them tap some of the roads, farming roads, so that bringing the cassava from the farms to the town will be a little more easier for them, because most of the women do this to help their families.
The traders want government to enhance their production by providing them with equipment. An elder in the community has been speaking with Joy Business.
Headman. Vito Galiles Yakbe, Media Agbelible, never me ado Agbeli.
I'm the headman of Mafis Yakbe. Our dominant activity here is cassava farming and gari production. The traditional way of producing it has been a major challenge for us. Even in recent times, the hot weather is heavily affecting the cassava dough making. We can't stand the traditional ways again. We want the government to come to our aid by providing us equipment that would enhance our production.
And that is Ivy Sejoji's reports there on the constraints regarding manual labor in gari processing. At this point, we bring you international business news. And that'll be all for business. I'm Charles Aite.
A middle-aged man who attempted to help retrieve a 10-year-old boy who drowned at the Dafiama Dachala Dam in the Dafiama Buse Isa district met his untimely death when he also got drowned in the dam. Simon Wille, who hails from Duong in the DVI district, was on his way to Aulo when, upon reaching Dafiama, decided to join the search team to look for the 10-year-old Joseph Sunday, who drowned on Tuesday. Simon could, however, not be found when the lifeless body of Joseph Sunday was retrieved. FixThe has more.
10-year-old Joseph Sunday returned from school Tuesday afternoon, changed his school uniform to mufti, and confided in his father, Sunday Sabawe, that he was joining his colleagues at the Danchala Dam site to pick shea nut.
I did see a garden and a dampo, sia. To a tanga can be a dampo, sia. A man lady.
There's a shade tree closer to the dam. That bears good shea fruit.
So, another man there's an archer.
I was here when the stepmother came and told me that Joseph went into the dam with a friend and he got drowned.
Little did he know that those were the last words from his primary three son, whom he described as very respectful and intelligent, and his death has turned his world upside down.
I'm feeling bad. I'm not feeling happy. I'm not feeling happy. I'm feeling sorry.
Joseph Sunday later joined one of his friends to the Danchala Dam, constructed under the One Village One Dam initiative of the government to swim using jaded logs cut from shea trees.
What I'm holding on is a branch of a tree, and I can tell you that it weighs about 40 kilograms, and that's what is used by the pupils to do the swimming. This is a branch of a tree that was cut around. They brought it into the dam and then used as a boat. And so the unfortunate thing happened yesterday at the Dafiama Danchala. Two boys came into the dam to do swimming, and then they jumped into these branches of the trees that are dotted across the dam, and unfortunately one got drawn.
Assemblyman for the Dafiama South electoral area, T.B. Solomon, told me how the incident occurred.
The wood logs that are lying around this area, that is what they use in swimming. They use them as their boot in swimming. They get pleasure in it. And unfortunately, then the sad incident happened.
Personnel from the Dafiama Buse Isa District DBI National Disaster Management Organization, NADMU, were called to the scene to help retrieve the body, and for several hours they were not making any headway. They sought for local support and local divers from Chare before they could step foot on the dam. A middle-aged man, Simon Willie, who hailed from Duong, was passing to the Olo community and heard of the unfortunate incident. David Kumbini is the Dafiama Bure Isa District Director of NADMU.
Unfortunately, he couldn't also make it. So the same day we continued the search and the rescue, we couldn't because it was beyond us. We equally had to reach out to the experts again to come. In fact, I wish you were here early to see the wonders of God. Our local people have something good for us. We need to use them.
The incident, according to the Dafiama Bure Isa District NADMU Director, overstretched his personnel to their elastic limit and therefore called for the need to have a well-equipped search and rescue team.
Not just a team by name, team that are specialized and skillful. That we don't pray, but when the unfortunate happened, at least we ran after them for their assistance. Yesterday, for instance, I made calls all over the region, other areas, thinking we could get people, but at the distance, it wasn't that possible. But we're lucky our brothers from Chare actually was able to save us from the woeful situation.
The lifeless body of 10-year-old Joseph Sunday was retrieved late Wednesday and has since been buried at his native Dafiama, whilst that of Simon Wele had been moved to Duong for burial. DBI District Chief Executive Nadimoro Sanda, who visited the scene of the incident and the family of Joseph Sunday, is downhearted. He hinted of measures that the Assembly would put in place to halt future occurrences.
Let me first of all say my condolences to the Brief family. And as I said, we've just retrieved the bodies. We're going to sit down as a people and plan and take measures such that such incidents will not happen again. Especially, we will talk to the GES to make sure that students who go to school around this enclave return to their parents, and their parents should also take keen interest in taking care of their children.
I'm currently at the FGMA DA Primary School, and I'm with class 3 pupils of the school. Under normal circumstances, this is supposed to be the class of Joseph Sunday, but the unfortunate thing happened. His friends, his close allies are telling me what transpired. The games they used to play together, and they will surely miss him. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Dafiema Danchala.
That's it for the Bulletin of Israelite. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night and a great weekend.